The 250 class is wide open as the 40th season of AMA Motocross begins. Defending race winner Eli Tomac returns to the site of his first taste of pro glory. Honda's Justin Barcia and Kawasaki's Brock Tickle come into the campaigns fresh off of Supercross titles earned just 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas. Scotland's Dean Wilson, France's Marvin Musquin, and South African star Tyler Rattray have come across the pond to challenge for the AMA title. The world's fastest motocross riders take to the start line as AMA Motocross returns to speed. We're in Northern California for the opening round of the 2011 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. It's the 43rd running of the Rockstar Energy Drink Hangtown Classic. Hello, we welcome you speed fans to Northern California's Hangtown Motocross. Jason Wygant joined by four-time AMA National Champion Jeff Emig. And this 250 class, it is wide open. And we'll give you an idea as we look at some of the big picture storylines we're gonna follow this year. New challengers are going to emerge this year because the two riders that battled for last year's championship, Christophe Pourcel and Trey Canard, have moved up to the 450 division. And if you want to pick two contenders from that group of challengers, you got to look at Justin Barcia and Brock Tickle, who just wrapped up Supercross championships 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas. They have some confidence, they have some momentum. But don't forget the fast Frenchman, Marvin Musquin, moving and racing in the United States for the first time. Starting today, he won 2 championships in the Grand Prix Tour in Europe the last 2 seasons. So Jeff, we open it up to you with this class, this many riders, this many young riders that are really exciting to watch. It's going to be a great season.
Well, it certainly is, and it's the age of these riders and the lack of, pro experience to a certain extent. There's just so much excitement here out of these riders. They're not afraid to bang bars, and as we get into the 24 moto, 12 race season, physical fitness, mental strength, desire, determination, all comes into play. And let's not forget last season where this championship really did come down to the final race. So it's going to be a long, hot summer. We'll see what these guys can do.
Well, we're obviously excited about how great this year is going to be, but we're not the only ones that are pumped up. Of course, the riders have to deal with the nerves and the jitters of racing here on opening day, and we had a chance to talk to a few of them about that.
A split second before the gate drops, your nerves are crazy. But then once the gate drops, it's all gone. It's just race mode, and everybody's trying to get to that first corner first.
Definitely have some butterflies. You're not sure where you're at, if you're gonna be in first or you're gonna be in the back of the pack, but usually you're on the start line saying, let's do it, I'm gonna win this thing, and just go out there and try to do your best.
I think every racer will be nervous. If you're not nervous, then there's a problem. I try not to be nervous, even though when you try not to be nervous, you usually get a little more nervous. So yeah, that's kind of weird. I put more pressure on myself when I'm on the start to really get out of the gate good and make sure I do a perfect start. And obviously that helps a lot.
Yeah, well, these guys look relaxed in line. There's no doubt they're nervous. Plus, they have to worry about this really, really difficult racetrack they have to race on today at Hangtown, and we'll give you an idea what it looks like from the rider's perspective with our GoPro lap. It's amazing how rough this place has gotten throughout the day. So we'll show you what it looks like from the rider's perspective, but the only one that truly understands is Jeff. You've ridden at this level.
No doubt here we're on board. I believe this is Ryan Sipes, and you can see these sections, just how rutted the track is. And this is early in the day. This is in qualifying practice as they come through, and you can see how the riders bouncing around, hit these really deep, soft braking bumps. And the track right now, guys, is smooth.
Yeah, it's a lot worse now.
In the video. Okay, the thing about this track is that it's really hard clay underneath. Up hills, down hills, gets really rutted. But they've also added what's called rice holes. It's kind of like sand, but it's made of rice, so it kind of has the effect of sand, but it's a little different. Holds the moisture, keeps the dust down. Up hills, down hills, extremely treacherous, fast, and as we make our way through the last quarter of the track right here, I can tell you, this is the final moto of the day. This track is beat up. It is going to test the rider's physical fitness. It's going to test their mental strength, everything here, the second moto. It's going to be a really tough moto here.
And the first moto was pretty darn tough as well. Let's take you through it off the start. No surprise who's out front early on this one. Eli Tomac grabs the whole shot, but a big crash in the center of the pack.
Yeah, that's Ryan Sipes here, one of the Yamaha favorites there, right in the middle of your screen on the blue bike that went down.
This is Dean Wilson making moves for second over Malcolm Stewart, who had a good start to his first ever pro race. And Wilson kept charging and went after Tomac for the lead.
And watch this move here as he goes around the outside of Tomac. Just really showed some speed right here and just was perfect.
But here was the guy we were talking about at the end. The 57, Blake Baggett, crashed back to 10th. Then he starts making moves. He passes Marvin Musquian. Then he gets to the inside of Justin Barcia, makes another pass. Not done yet. Goes after Darren Durham, who is running in a podium position. Makes the move on Durham. Then Durham, battling it out with Musquian just out of the podium position, goes down.
Yeah, he gets into a lap rider there as he was trying to go to the inside, and that's going to put him back in the pack after just a fantastic moto.
And incredibly late in the race, Baggett catches Tomac from nearly 15 seconds back to move into the number 2 spot. But there was no catching Dean Wilson, who took advantage of that good start, grabbed the lead, and held on to win the first moto of the year. So, a couple stories to talk about. The big moto victory for Wilson, but the last 2 laps of the moto for Baggett were faster than anyone else's laps at any point in the race. To do it at the end of the moto, that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, literally the last 5 laps, they just kept getting faster, it seemed like. So Baggett is definitely my favorite for this moto. Let's see if he can continue on with that momentum.
I think Tomac, I think it's Barcia actually going to get the wheels out front. The 2 Honda riders, it is the 17 of Barcia. 28, Tyler Attrey, second, Cole Stealing third, and a rider down to the outside, going to take some down with him, in fact.
Well, Weege, I tell you, if I'm Justin Barcia, this is exactly what I need to get. Uh-oh, that's Musquian down.
The Frenchman, who was a solid 4th in Moto 1, he got tangled up, and he's got to come from last. Try to show you what happened here.
Let's take a look here. This is corner number 2 at the bottom of your screen here. Oh, it was the top of your screen, the left. 2 or 3 riders down. The 61's down.
Davalos
so look
also
for the orange bike on the right side of your screen. Here he comes in, goes wide, and Marvin actually loses it in this loose soil down in here. Just pushes the front end out. Swallows up Davalos with him.
Austin Howell there in the 61. Wow. So he's got his work cut out for him, but how about Bam Bam Barcia? And that's classic Barcia style. All over the bike, revving the engine, all the way to the rev limiter, and also in the lead. That's where you want to be.
Well, Barcia really was just in the middle of everything last moto. Wasn't really able to ride his own race, let's say. But right now, he has the opportunity to go execute the perfect moto. Baggett was back around 6th, I believe. Not sure where Wilson was at this point, but your favorite's right up front there once again. And I'm telling you, this track, it is so rough. And the square edge is right there. Barcia already gets a kick. I mean, there's bumps all the way around the track. Only maybe some of these jump faces is the only place that it's even smooth.
And right around the outside there is Baggett, the 57, who we were, of course, talking about from the first moto. He is up to 4th. And pressure being applied. He's got Wilson right behind him, Tomac right in front of him. So we got a battle going on right now. And the rider in 3rd, that's Gareth Swanepoel out of South Africa in his first full season racing in the U.S. Not too shabby. He was top 10 in Moto 1, and he is 3rd early in Moto 2.
Yeah, he's on that DNA Shred Sticks Yamaha team, which is in 2011. This team has really came to life, and they have some veterans of the sport that are really getting up there and mixing it up with the dominance of Factory Connection and Pro Circuit, who really have dominated the 250 class.
Well, talking about mixing it up, Wilson makes the move on Baggett. So Wilson into 4th, and Baggett, he didn't look like he's happy about that. He wants to pass the 15 and move back into 4th.
Wow, there's still 27 minutes plus 2 laps in this moto. And look at the roost coming off the back of the bikes. Look at how the bikes are jumping around. There's dust coming up. There's mud flying your way, rocks.
Hard to even keep up with the action out here. This 250 class is known for this. Young riders, to give you an idea, Baggett and Wilson only turned pro last year. So this is only their 2nd year as professionals. And they are some of the fastest men in the group. So that's what makes this class so exciting to watch. You got kids who definitely know how to go fast. And sometimes they ride even a little bit over their heads trying to make passes. So these opening laps, and they're all close like this, are usually pretty exciting. Swanepoel holding his own. Now, he is not one of the kids. He's a veteran, raced in Europe for years and years, wanted to take a crack at racing the U.S. Going well, but Wilson. How did Wilson hold on? The foot was off the peg, and he almost made the pass anyway.
Nobody does a knack through the whoop section. Come on, these young riders, they're so cocky. They think they can do anything.
Okay.
Right?
That's one way to put it.
That was so close. He caught the rut with his right foot, and it kicked his right foot all the way over the rear fender. That was crazy.
And Baggett sticking right with him. He got to see that right in front. So they're going for it right now. You got Barsha in the lead, Rattray, Tomac second and third. It's your battle for fourth. On again, Swanepoel, Wilson, and Baggett. Then it's Seeley, Durham, Kyle Cunningham, and Brock Tickle rounding out the top 10.
Swanepoel putting in a strong ride here. I mean, he's gotten the Moto 1 winner breathing down his neck right now, but he's just been solid through all of his lines, not making any mistakes, not giving Wilson an inch here.
But like we said, he's a veteran.
Here we go.
He's not going to crack under pressure, but he just might not be fast enough to hold Wilson back. Not in that section, at least. Dean Wilson moves up a spot. He is now fourth behind Tomac, Rattray, and Barsha.
Well, I'm going to give you guys, now that we finally have a lap time in the books here, Justin Barsha, 2:19, Rattray, Tomac, Wilson, and it was Swanepoel that finally kicked up to a 2:21, and Baggett at 2:20. And we know Baggett can turn some much faster lap times on this track, whether it's rough or not.
So Justin Barsha leads early, but lots of competition. I mean, you got to imagine this is just the calm before the storm. Justin Barsha out front, but Jeff Emmett, you've been commenting, he's made some mistakes, he's hitting some bumps. It's not going to be easy for him to hold this lead, especially not with strong riders like Rattray and Tomac right behind.
Yeah, but this is how Justin Barsha has earned the comparisons between himself and the great Bob Hanna, is that, okay, the bike's jumping around, that's okay, as long as the throttle,
oh! Well, he went completely opposite direction there, went over the front. So normally he shows up those mistakes. What do we got here?
And notice right here, notice on his left foot peg, he's got a bunch of hay from that hay bale, so it looks like when he got into that inside rut that he stuck the chassis, the lower part of the chassis in the foot peg, and that's what stopped the motorcycle. Let's take another look at it. Watch as he comes down this hill right here with the lead, and this is a really difficult bumpy section. There's a right and then a left. Let's see how he drops in. Yeah, he got a little bit too far to this hay bale that's over, a little too far to his left. Watch, he kind of lifts up his left foot.
Well, we were just saying he's able to absorb all those mistakes, but not quite in that situation. Hay bale's going to stop you no matter who you are.
Still, you got to give him a good score for that handstand.
Yeah, it was really good dismount. We still get the battling Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki riders. That's Wilson on the 15, Baggett on the 57. Dale and Herod a spot now that Barsha's down. And while they duke it out, you can see Tomac and Rattray not too far out in front of them. So the top four are close.
Well, and once again, just like in Moto 2, as this Moto wears on, Moto 1, Baggett seems to have found a comfort zone, and he seems to be looking around, trying to find some lines. And it looks like he's if he can find a line to pull up next to his teammate Wilson here, he's going to make the pass.
Only 10 minutes into this moto, so lots of racing yet to come. Maybe a little too early to talk about overall right now. Wilson did win the first race earlier today. Baggett was second, Tomac is third. And they're almost in the reverse order of that so far in this one. But you got to feel that there's going to be some passes, there's going to be some action before the checkered flag comes out in this one. What does Baggett seem to find in the second half of these races? Track starts coming around for him.
Yeah, and I mean, Wilson, he's got to keep pressing all the way here because these points are going to get shuffled around. And for the overall, in the scope of the series, you're looking at 24 motos. Okay, so but when it comes to the record books, the overalls count. And we mark those and we count those, and the riders get bonuses for getting the overall.
Checks cash for winning the overall.
Yeah, so there really is incentive, even though points-wise you're scored separately each moto.
Yeah.
There's no points for actually earning the overall, other than that you had the most points, right?
Yeah, you certainly want to have the most points, but that doesn't pay extra money. What pays is getting the wins. The points only matter at the end of the year. Let's check in with our leader, Tyler Rattray, out of South Africa, with Eli Tomac, Colorado kid, right behind him. Rattray, very consistent, very strong. And a lot of people think of the long haul 24 races that he might be the one you can count on to be consistent. You don't know what you're going to get out of the kids that'll be racing him all year. Rattray's going to be there, no doubt.
Well, and it's great to see a rider from South Africa, Swanepoel also. You got Dean Wilson from Scotland. You got Muscan from France, Clark from England. I mean, the top talent in the world. This is where they come to race during the summer.
And by the way, Muscan, who was down in the first turn, basically dead last, only 10 minutes completed in this moto, and he's already up to 17. So he's going to score some championship points for sure.
Which, with the rides that he had the first moto, combined with if he continues on to climb up the leaderboard in Moto 2 here, would be a candidate for the Ricky Carmichael
Hard Charger award. Yeah, which is a rider who makes the most passes. And he's made 23 passes already. And Rattray, the leader. Aaron, what do you have on the number 28?
Well, guys, when I spoke with Tyler earlier this afternoon, he said this is the one track that he doesn't seem to vibe with, but something tells me as of right now he's had an attitude adjustment. He said he's been working extremely hard, practicing solely on testing for the outdoors, and especially speed right out of the gate. So obviously off to a good start for Tyler, and he is well excited about a fresh season because he is 100% healthy coming in.
And we got a battle for second now. Wilson leaning on Tomac. He got the spot for just a moment, and then Tomac gets it back. Rematch of the battle for the lead in Moto 1. It's now a battle for second in Moto 2. Tomac able to fight back.
Well, this is a tough position to be in because the guy behind you is breathing down your neck, and Tomac briefly lost the spot right there. Here comes Wilson way around the outside, and he's got the inside line.
That is not an easy pass to make around the outside to get to the inside, but Wilson, well, maybe he was sick of hearing his teammate Baggett buzzing around behind him and says, I need a buffer here. Well, put the number 19 there.
Yeah, and what's so cool about Wilson, well, let's take a look at the Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com keys to the race here. Learn from the first moto. I think that Tomac got to start. Seemed like his bike set up and everything was good. But right now, he's going to have to regroup. And at the same race last year, he did regroup and came back to win after it looked like the overall had gone away. Right now, he's really got to talk himself through this. You got to believe in your program, your fitness, everything, and be mentally tough and believe that you can win this thing because it's not over. There's still 17 minutes plus 2 laps to go.
Losing a little bit of ground to Wilson. He has Baggett to deal with, which should soon be a race for third, while Tyler Rattray continues to lead. So you got 3 Kawasaki battling 1 Honda. Gareth Swanepoel still fifth. Wednesdays, back-to-back Car Warriors. At 8, Itchy goes on a rampage, and no one is safe from his temper. Then at 9, Rich has finally pushed his team to the brink of revolt. Check out Car Warriors Wednesday night, beginning at 8 Eastern only on Speed. Battle shaping up for the lead. It's Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship Racing, Rockstar Energy Drink, Hangtown Classic, and what a classic battle is shaping up here. Tyler Rattray versus Dean Wilson for the number 1 spot.
Yeah, but if you're Mitch Payton and you got your Pro Circuit team, you've got 1, 2, 3 are all of your riders.
Wow. I've had a change for our folks that watching on Speed for the number 3 spot. Blake Baggett able to make the move on Eli Tomac. Show us how it happened, Jeff.
Same exact spot on the track the lap before where Dean Wilson gets by Tomac. He just powers around the outside, which becomes the inside. Nice move, and once again, just like in Moto 1, late in the moto, Blake Baggett is on the move.
And there's not a very big gap even back to him. As we race toward the finish line area, we can give you the latest as far as the splits. There's the 28. You can visually see the gap between he and Wilson, but there was just a hint of green fender of Baggett not too far behind. 3.3 seconds, that's the difference between your leader and your third place rider, all of them on the exact same motorcycle. So it's rider versus rider at this point.
Yeah, and just to remind you, the top 5 from Moto 1 was Wilson, Baggett, Tomac, Muscan, and Rattray was 5th. Okay, so that 5th is really going to hurt him as far as the overall. Still continues to lead this moto, and the overall really is between Tomac, Baggett, and Wilson, and at this point, Wilson's got it in the bag. But still, 13 minutes plus 2 laps.
Yeah, with all the action we've seen in this moto, you would think that we're headed down to the finish, but we're only just past halfway.
But the way that the points would work out, if if Baggett moved up to seconds, let's say, that second's not going to be enough for him to win the overall.
Progressive whole shot replay, Jeff, take us through this one.
The Geico Honda, Justin Barcia was out front. Most riders got through clean, but watch the orange fender and the bike goes down. That's the reigning world champion, Marvin Musquin, down, and he's up to 12th now as we watch the battle for the lead, all the way up to 12th.
In just over half the race, he has passed 28 riders. So you're not going to see him probably on the podium today, top 3 overall or anything like that, but the points he is earning, salvaging, I should say, could loom large later in the year. But right now, we'll focus back on the leaders. Tyler Rattray, Dean Wilson, Blake Baggett. And as Aaron Bates told us earlier, this has been a track that has not brought much success for Tyler Rattray. But obviously what he's learned here the last 2 years, put those notes to work, figured out the problem, leading them around this time.
Well, and as you look at 57 here, Blake Baggett, he needs to win this moto to win the overall, because you get that extra points gap. There's a 3 points gap between first and second. It goes 25, 22, 20, 18, 16, right? And that's the incentive to actually win the moto and just not to be consistent. And Wilson has got that on his side right now, that even if he gave up the position, it still wouldn't be enough.
You know, I almost feel like he heard you saying that, because it looks like the 57 is starting to get a move on here and realizes, I got to go after Wilson. I got to win this moto to win the overall for the day. And lo and behold, here he comes again. He ran at 2:17. Rattray and Wilson ran 2:18 lap time. So Baggett's the fastest rider on the track.
Here he goes, and look at the line choice that he's had. He has just been spectacular today, trying the same move on his teammate.
Yeah.
Got to get on the binders.
I showed you that move. Don't use my move on myself. That's where they both passed Tomac. And Baggett figured it out by seeing Wilson do it.
Baggett riding the long way around here. Getting into the markers there a little bit, but look how he's able to get into those inside ruts. Just so proud of this second-year rider here, Blake Baggett, for the ride that he's put in today.
You know, Baggett, it was really funny. He only raced 3 rounds last year, then he broke his arm. His upper arm, by the way, if you want to think about how painful that injury would be. And I was talking to him a couple of weeks ago, and he joked around. He said, no, I was all good last year. I lost fewer races than anyone else in the series.
Yeah,
I only lost 3 races.
Attitude is everything, and I believe that's called the humerus, right?
Well, it was pretty funny what he said, yeah.
Nothing humorous about
Nothing humorous about a broken humerus. So Baggett, we thought he was putting in the charge, but it looks like Wilson put his pace back up, and now he pulls back away from Baggett. This is going to be really interesting down to the closing moments. This battle continues to rage for second place at the Rockstar Energy Drink Hangtown Classic. The number 15, Dean Wilson. The number 57, Blake Baggett. They are in second and third place. Or will it soon swap? Baggett's going to try this outside line again, Jeff Emig.
Let's see, he's got him. Oh, Wilson goes down!
And he's in a bad spot. His bike is basically going to be upside down. Oh, he got lucky. He could have easily had that machine tumble to the bottom of the hill.
Fourth place is Eli Tomac. They had a good 15 seconds over the number 19 on the Honda of Eli Tomac. So let's see if it looks like he's going to retain third place here.
I'd say the only question is, can he get his pace back to where it was? Sometimes when you have a crash like that, it's difficult to find your rhythm again.
Yeah, and you never know if when he hit that hay bale, if he bent the shifter, the clutch lever, or anything like that.
Well, let's take another look here, Jeff. You can take us through. We were focused on Baggett on the outside.
Well, and that's because the pressure was on, okay? And then Dean's trying to stay on the throttle, and he just gets his weight a little far to the left.
Oh.
Gets into one of the cameramen there even.
And like I said, that's a pretty big drop off. The TV cameras don't exactly show you how bad that is. But luckily the bike got stuck on that hay bale.
Yeah, he was really fortunate that the bike didn't tumble on down the hill, but he was holding strong. The battle was on, and now Blake Baggett's putting the pressure on.
Well, the battle's on. The calculators are out because we got to figure out the overall. If it ends like this, Wilson, I believe, would still win the overall with a first and a third. That would be one spot better than the second that Baggett would have it. But 7 minutes, 10 seconds, and 2 laps left for Baggett to try to steal the lead from Rattray, and if he does that, he'll win this race. So it's really down to these two. However, if you want to pick one guy that's going to be hard to pass in the latter stretches of a moto, it's Tyler Rattray. This guy is strong. Yeah, exactly. So what's going to happen? We don't know. You just got to keep on watching. Tyler Rattray under pressure from the 57. Blake Baggett, kid out of California, going after a veteran out of South Africa. This is exactly the way Baggett did in the first moto earlier today. Late in the race, he's finding something extra. On the inside, here we go. He still wanted to take that outside line through that section, so there wasn't enough room to make the pass.
Hey, Rattray's being stingy with this moto win. He doesn't want to give it up. And think about it, this is 25 points for the win towards the championship, whether he's got the overall or not. His secondary. But I tell you, Rattray, he's riding a solid line. He's not making any mistakes. He's just really making Baggett earn it at this point.
We talk about earning. Baggett rode for Kawasaki and Pro Circuit as an amateur, but when he graduated from the amateur ranks, basically only had one spot open, and they gave that spot to Dean Wilson. And those two were actually rivals as amateurs. Baggett wasn't happy about it. He rode Suzuki's last year, and then after a pretty solid season, at least early outdoors, Mitch Payton called him up and said, sorry about that. We got room for you now. We'll have both you and Wilson race for us. And he is making good in second, going after Rattray. If he wins this moto, he wins the overall. If not, Wilson might still edge him for the overall of the day. But let's just focus on this race right now. Rattray against Baggett for the second moto win.
I mean, two totally different individuals. I mean, Rattray, he has a child, has ridden on the world stage, Grand Prix motocross and all that. And Baggett is a product of the American amateur motocross system.
Baggett tries to make the move on the inside. Can't make it happen. As we said before, right now he has 2 second-place finishes. So Wilson, who would have a first and a third, would win the race for the day. If Baggett can make the pass on Rattray, he will not only win the moto, he will be your overall winner in 2 motos. That's how it works in motocross.
What's interesting, Jason, here is that Baggett made a couple of big mistakes last lap around and really seemed to have no problem getting back on the rear tire of Rattray. It just, at any time, see right through there, he kind of went off the track last lap, but you see this time, threads the needle, and he might have some momentum to go around the outside or possibly square him up coming back down the hill.
He's going to try to run that outside. Now he switches back. Rattray, this is a tremendous amount of pressure that he is dealing with everywhere he goes. Baggett has shown him a wheel, shown him a fender. He just doesn't care. Here we go. Handful of throttle. And Baggett was close a lap ago, and this time he makes it stick.
Wow. Just threaded the needle between the lapper. He set that up. He visualized it. He's been planning that this whole race. You start to feel where your lines are. He set that up the turn before.
Unbelievable charge by Blake Baggett. We talked at the beginning of the day about how deep the field was, what competition we had in this class, but the laps he has put in late in Moto 1, late in Moto 2, he has made a statement.
I mean, this is a second-year rider that this is his 4th AMA motocross.
He got a few in, remember, after his amateur days in 09, but yeah, basically coming in with a full series ready to go. Yeah. 4 times.
Hey, a couple minutes plus a couple laps here. He could be on his way to the record book, being the overall winner here at the Hangtown Classic. One of the longest running motocross races here in the U.S.
Absolutely. Blake Baggett pulling away now from Rattray. You kind of had a feeling that once he got some running room, he would be able to put some distance between himself, but any mistake and Rattray can get him back. There's still enough time, 2 minutes and 2 laps.
Baggett turned a 2:17 last lap. Rattray was a 2:19.9, so basically a 2:20. That was about a 3-second swing there for Baggett that time. But he also, you can see the blue flags waving and some of the lapped riders in the line here. And if these guys are riding in the fast line and it doesn't allow Blake to ride the lines that he wants, that's when a rider like Rattray, if he still keeps charging, keep pushing and doesn't give up on it, can close it back up and maybe capitalize on Baggett being in the lapped riders.
A couple of days ago, talked to David Pingree, who used to ride for this team and actually wore the number 57. And he said he had some inside information that when the Pro Circuit team was out testing, every single time Blake Baggett was putting in the fastest lap. Someone would raise the mark, he would go back out and beat it. He predicted that this guy would take the win, and so far so good for Baggett. The team kind of sensed it. Very impressive. So as he pulls away from Rattray and Wilson is in third, it could be a podium sweep for the Monster Pro Circuit team. But with all the credentials of Rattray, all the credentials of Wilson, and Brock Tickle, who we haven't seen much of the Supercross Championship, it's maybe the forgotten rider on the team, Baggett, who might lead them all the way to the finish.
He's on his way.
Pulling away down the stretch, we'll be back with more. Try to give you some highlights of past races here at Hangtown. Wednesday, Car Science breaks down the technology and science of what moves you. It's a high-octane half hour of cold, hard facts that'll blow your mind. Car Science, Wednesday at 10 Eastern on Speed. 40th season of AMA Motocross. All year long, we're going to highlight some great stories from the history of this great sport. Today, a story from three-time 125 champ Mark Barnett.
The National Series always opened with the Hangtown Classic in Plymouth, California. A long way from Chicago when you're 16, too long for mothers and their kids' favorite music.
We loaded up the van and me and Mom drove all the way to Hangtown from Chicago.
Mark had to have his music.
Had it to the floor all the way, listening to 40 hours of Jimi Hendrix and eating ham sandwiches.
For 45 hours, I had to listen to Jimi Hendrix. I didn't think I ever wanted to hear that man sing again.
Hey, that's music to the ears of Jeff Emmett.
You gotta love it. The purple haze just...
Whew, you probably wish you had driven to the races yourself so you had more time listening to your old tapes.
Hey, I drove in a box van, unlike the young kids here like Baggett. He's been flying, working out of semis and 18-wheelers the whole time. Just, they have no idea what it's like to work out of a box van at a national.
I knew we'd get some sort of young kids comment.
Look who's getting
Marsha.
Just a Marsha.
Race, yeah. And Marsha, we can tell you, is in 18th place. Led this race early on, so that is a major, major loss of points.
And up from last place, Muskan. What? Up to 6th place at the moment, and he's got Swanepoel in his sights. He's not far behind him.
That is unbelievable. 6th place after starting this one on the ground in last.
Well, that's an indicator that the KTM rider from France probably has a good chance of running with these leaders here if he starts with them, right? So gaining some experience, but this is a confidence booster here because first moto, we heard Baggett actually said that he fell, and that's why he got kicked back so far, and he rode up to the front of the pack, up to the leaders way at the end, and this time he didn't wait till the last lap to put his charge on. He's done it with a few laps to go, put himself in a position now to go 2-1, 47 points on the day, give him the overall and the points lead to start the series up.
Be the first ever AMA Motocross win for Blake Baggett. First time he's ever been in the points lead. And what a great journey it has been for his parents. I don't know if they had to listen to Led Zeppelin or Jimi Hendrix through the years, but you know the family well.
Yeah, I'm sure
They've put it. They probably did, as a matter of fact.
Classic rock there.
But that family's put a lot of miles on the road, getting their kid to amateur races and basically making this dream come true.
I've known Blake since he was just a little guy. I used to ride motorcycles with his uncle. I've known his parents forever. And I remember all through his amateur career, the family was so dedicated to amateur motocross here in the U.S. And Blake is one of those riders that has done the whole program, all the way through. And it's a proud moment to see him have this sort of rides and this sort of results. Pretty cool.
Yeah, 10 years ago was the first time I ever went to the big amateur national at Red Lynn Ranch, and the Kawasaki people were like, we got this kid on a 65cc motorcycle named Blake Baggett. Watch him.
Yeah.
10 years later, it's paid off.
Yeah, and his uncle, we used to call him Skeeter. And I'm thinking we may have to start calling him, even though it's his uncle, calling him Little Skeeter out there or something. Yeah, he definitely needs a nickname because we're going to be talking about this kid a lot this year.
Well, the 57 should be number 1 today if he can hang on for a few more corners. And when we go to our second round in Texas next weekend, he will wear the ceremonial red plate. Replace the black backgrounds behind the number with red because he will be your series points leader. And it seems like an annual ritual where we talk about the amazing rides for this Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki team. They are 1, 2, 3 in this moto. But passing his teammates, working his way to the front, Blake Baggett. Yeah, well done, you think?
Wow.
What a statement. Blake Baggett wins Hangtown. Incredible. And look at the lead he ended up with Rattray. Once he got clear track, this thing was over. Put it on ice. We'll wait for Rattray to come around. Here he is. Good run for Rattray. He'll have a 5th and a 2nd on the day. So he's right there in the championship.
13-second lead over Rattray, and Wilson still has a quarter of the lap to go.
Yeah, well, Wilson got, it could have been worse. He did tangle over the hay bale and go down. Luckily, he was able to only lose 1 spot, so
yeah,
solid points for him.
Yeah, that's an incredible ride to come back after that fall, because at that point, your body just totally wants to, this is Barsha. He's completely, well, he was lapped.
Yeah, so Barsha way back. That's not where he wanted to be. He's 18th. Meanwhile, the 15 of Wilson will take 3rd of the moto. He won the first race earlier today. So really, if you're a Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki and your name is Blake Baggett, Tyler Rattray, or Dean Wilson, you're happy. We'll be right back. Well, Northern California motocross fans, they got to watch some great racing today. And if for some reason you missed it all, we can show you exactly what went down with our race recap and a banner day for the Kawasaki boys. Lucas Oil bringing the recap here. Justin Barsha was out front earlier, the number 17 Geico Honda, but he was under some serious pressure, and then he made a big mistake here, Jeff.
Huge mistake, handstand over the bars as he catches a tough block, and really his day, his moto just went downhill quick, and then Wilson makes a similar mistake. He gets into a tough block in a similar area of the track. He was able to remount and hold his position, but that cost him the overall right there.
So battle for the lead is on between Tyler Rattray and Blake Baggett, and Baggett kept trying, and finally found the room in that corner to take the lead, and then he pulled away from there. 13 seconds with the final margin of victory. This kid's on fire. Show you the results. A couple other riders we want to mention. Eli Tomac, 53 seconds back at the end of that one in 4th. Probably not happy about that. But Gareth Swanepoel, great ride for top 5.
And I'm telling you, 6th, Marvin Muscan from France. He was down in the 2nd turn all the way up to 6th. This kid's got some heart, he's got some speed, and he will be there throughout the rest of this championship.
Well, we know where Erin Bates is going to be. She's on podium. Erin.
Very impressive ride for Blake Baggett. Blake, only your 4th outdoor ever of your career, and you walk away from Hangtown with taking the overall win. What is this moment like for you?
Yeah, it's definitely really good. You know, last year I ended up getting hurt, so I couldn't ride on pretty much all the races. But you know, I went back home, got my arm fixed, got to ride with Mitch Payton. I got to give it up to him. Monster Energy Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Parts Unlimited, Scott, Volcom, Vans, Dunlop, everybody. My mom, my dad, my girlfriend, Mitch, especially. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be up here.
Coming into today, when I asked you who you thought were going to be your biggest competitors, you had said to me it was going to be your teammates. That was proven here today. What do you go home and work on now?
You know, I just need to work on my starts. I came around, I think, 5th, 6th, both motos. So just need to go back, work on my starts, and sprinting right off the bat. I'm good towards the end of the moto, but I really need to work on the beginning. But, you know, I'm pumped. I think all of us maybe went 1, 2, 3, so that's cool.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Give you the upcoming schedule, the next set of races that this Pro Circuit team will try to sweep the podium on. We'll be feeling the heat next week in Texas. We check out the Toyota moving forward schedule for the series, and we'll cover that one May 28th at 11 p.m. Eastern on Speed. It's off to the hills of Mount Morris, Pennsylvania on June 11th, 10 p.m. Eastern. Then it's Budds Creek, the hills of Maryland, in Mechanicsville, 11 p.m. Eastern on June 18th. And then it will be a mile high up outside of Denver, Thunder Valley in Lakewood, Colorado on June 26th. Run the gauntlet in this series. Every type of weather and soil condition you can imagine, these guys are going to have to face it. So just because Baggett won today does not necessarily mean it's going to happen all season long. That's why you got to keep watching every single round of this championship. Stay with us. All right, we are back here in the hills of Northern California, just outside of Sacramento. Lots of fans still here, and they got to see some great racing. Here are your overall results for the day. You add up the points. Blake Baggett has it. Dean Wilson, Tyler Rattray, 3 Kawasaki riders. They sweep the podium. Marvin Muscan, who had some bad luck today, still salvages a 5th. Gareth Swanepoel 6th.
Yeah, and so DNA Shred 6 Yamaha 6th and 7th overall. They're starting to creep up in there to put some pressure on these other top teams.
Darren Durham in the top 10. He's a privateer, doesn't have the support from the big OEM manufacturers. Finishes 8th. Let's go down to Aaron.
It was going all right for Dean Wilson when he was sitting in 2nd place, and then you ended up getting tangled up with that hay bale. Dean, what happened from your perspective?
Yeah, you know, I was in 2nd trying to catch Tyler, and, you know, I was just coming up the hill, and I knew Blake was, you know, coming for me, and went up, and once I got to the top, my front wheel just washed out, and, you know, once it hooked up, it sent me right into the hay bales and knocked down a couple of photographers, and a bit disappointed, I mean, because I wasn't expecting to come in with a win, and then when you come in with a win, you want to win again, and had the overall in my hands at that point, but it wasn't going to be easy with Blake behind me, but yeah, I had a few sketchy moments out there, but I was giving it 100%, and that's all you can ask.
Dean, take us through the crash, and exactly, did you experience any injury at all, or was it just a matter of getting your bike up right?
No, I'm good. I mean, it's just, you know, once I got up, I was lucky enough to be in 3rd still, and, you know, I didn't get past or nothing except from Blake, so, you know, I really can't complain too much. I'm 100%. I'm good. You know, I'd just like to thank everybody. Monster Energy Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Dunlop, my mechanic Paul, Toyota Escondido for my truck, Vans, everybody else. Thank you.
Good job, well done today.
Feel your... Let's go back to the podium, Aaron, and our 3rd place finisher.
Tyler definitely had his hands full with teammates around you, but Tyler, you've got to be pretty excited about the outcome of your first race back, especially how you were telling me earlier that this track and you just didn't vibe.
Yeah, definitely. It was a tough race. The track got really rough and made it hard. You had to get into a good rhythm, which I did, and Blake managed to pass me with like 4 laps to go. So he was riding really good, and I just want to thank all the guys from Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Barton, Thor, Vans, Volcom, Tracks, just everyone. Thank you.
How difficult was it to make a pass today with different line choices, not only lappers included, but also how much the track had deteriorated?
It made it tough. It was, you had to really take your time to pass someone and set it up. And but all in all, it was a good day for our team. I'm really pumped for them, and we went 1, 2, 3, so it was awesome.
Got some upcoming races. Next week we'll be in Freestone, Texas, which I bet you will probably be in the 90-degree range, so it'll be a true test for the riders. That'll be Saturday, May 28th. Our 250 class Moto2 coverage on speed at 11 Eastern time, 8 p.m. Pacific. So, Jeff Emig, let's talk a little bit about this. So many contenders that we highlighted at the beginning of the show. I don't know how many people were counting on this type of performance from Blake Baggett. A lot of established champions, but he beat them all today.
Yeah, he definitely showed that he is ready for this championship. And I tell you, the fans had just a beautiful day of racing 2 years in a row here at Hangtown.
Let's talk to their team manager at Pro Circuit. Aaron's got Mitch Payton.
That's right, Mitch. What a day it was for you. What a start to the season. Take us through the excitement and your thoughts looking forward.
No, it was awesome. I mean, everybody was up front, you know, like Blake rode an awesome race today, you know, with falling down the first moto and coming through. That was awesome. Dean rode really good, good speed out of him. Tyler, the first moto with a 5th and then leading the whole time. A little bit more out, you know, last part of the moto, and he would have been good. And then, you know, Brock had an off day, but fell down the first moto and had a little bit of problem the second, but we'll be good. I'm pumped.
Congratulations on the green sweep.
Yeah, I bet he's pumped. Well done, boys. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for joining us. And a big congratulations. Dean Wilson wins our first moto today, goes down in Moto 2. Then Blake Baggett makes a move on Tyler Rattray to grab the lead, and that would be enough to not only win the second moto today, but win the overall. So, in a field full of riders coming off momentum from Supercross, riders from overseas, the young kid from California takes the win. Congratulations, Blake Baggett.